So in this segment, we're going to be talking about Liz Truss plans to wine and dine EU counterpart Sefcovic at stately home in order to break the Northern Ireland deadlock. So we've come a long way from Liz Truss giving people uncomfortable chairs and other sorts of really, really shady tactics in order to woo them. Now she's going for a different tactic. She's going for the wine and dine tactic. Like, this isn't a date with Sefcovic. Do you think this is going to work, especially since countries in the EU actually have better food than us? Anyways, this is embarrassing, isn't it? Anyways, Liz Truss will demand rapid progress to break the Northern Ireland Protocol deadlock by the end of January, when she holds her first face-to-face meeting with the European Union, the Telegraph can disclose. So the Foreign Secretary has invited Sefcovic, the European Commission's Vice President, to Chevening House, Her Grace and Favour home. This is what the Foreign Secretary gets access to this home. Her and Dominic Raab, I think, are still wrangling over it because Dominic Raab still wants access to it. Don't know why. Next week, in an attempt to add impetus to the stall talk. So she's going to invite him over to this big house and give him some nice food and some wine and say, look, man, what can we do about the Northern Ireland Protocol? And she's probably going to stare at him really awkwardly like she did in that video. Not going to subject you guys to it, like she did in that video when she talked about how much cheese we import, which is a disgrace. I really hope she doesn't do that because I would be terrified. Anyways, the over dinner at the 17th century venue on January 13th, she will present a series of constructive proposals to ease the trade disruptions caused by the Brexit rules for Northern Ireland. Now, her being Brexit secretary is a massive hospital pass. Boris Johnson has done this because he wants her to fail, because she's the one where there's a lot of momentum behind her to become leader of the party. It's either her or Sunak, so he's given her this role to trip her up, because nothing she gets will be good enough for the ERG and for the DUP. What they really want is for her to trigger Article 16, and if she does that, it's going to be a disaster. We're going to see tariffs and probably the end of the trade and cooperation agreement, aka the Brexit deal, aka the Johnson deal. That's what we're going to see. So she's not. We'll see if she does that. I don't think she's that stupid. But the point is, she's been given an absolute hospital pass by Boris Johnson because he sees her as a leadership contender. The pair will continue discussions the following day, with Miss Truss keen to end the row over the province in order to reset EU-UK relations, which had suffered as a result of the feud, suffered as a result of Lord Frost really being a douche. But her trying to reset negotiations is going to be quite difficult, I think. There's a lot of water under that bridge, and I don't think there's no way for her to win, because if she accepts the EU's proposals, right, that solves some of the issues, or a lot of the issues. It's going to make it so medicines can go from GB to NI, no problem, but you're still going to face checks on agri-foods and other products, but it's going to be far less than what they're facing currently. Now, the problem with that is the DUP and the ERG won't see that as good enough. So if she takes that option, she's not going to win any support there, and that's going to push more momentum towards Rishi Sunak. So essentially, she's trapped between a rock and a hard place. So Article 16 remains on the table. Sigh. She's expected to warn her EU counterpart, Sefcovic, that Article 16 remains on the table. I mean, if I was Sefcovic, I'd be like, go on, do it, fam. Let's see, go on, then. Go on, press the button. Let's see you do it then. Because we've been threatening this all year and aren't going to do it. Frost essentially caved in the end and said, oh yeah, we accept the ECJ having a role in the Northern Ireland Protocol, and that this EU Commission doesn't actually have a mandate to change that. So now we've gone backwards because she doesn't have a choice. That's the problem here. She wants to be leader of the party. So Article 16 is on the table unless progress towards a deal is made. Brussels last week warned it could rip up the TCA if the safeguard measure is triggered. So, you're saying, look, do it and we'll tear up this deal. That's it. This is the top and bottom of it. There will be no more talks, no more negotiations. If you trigger Article 16, that's it. We're done ski. Truss sees Chevening as the ideal venue to woo foreign officials. She has already used the 115-room country home to bolster post-Brexit trade ties with Gulf leaders. Great, those people who are typically very oppressive and don't like women, especially be women like Liz Truss, and counterparts from Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania. That's great, okay. Ms Truss was appointed to oversee Brexit negotiations with the EU last month after the resignation of Frost amid concerns over the direction of Boris Johnson's government. they are very nervous about her. I think because she is a former Remainer, and she was a very not prominent Remainer, but she was about. So that may be why kind of Brexiteers are nervous about her. People in the ERG may be a bit nervous about her. I mean, Frost was also a Remainer, but he wasn't really near the front lines, if that makes sense. Ally said the Foreign Secretary will be keen to stress the importance of urgent progress in the talks over the rules to prevent a hard border on the island of Ireland, which is true. We do need progress, but it's the UK that are stalling here. That's the problem. Liz has invited Sefcovic over at the earliest opportunity. I mean, is this really the earliest opportunity? I mean, holidays are over now. Surely they could meet around now. At the earliest opportunity, and wants to go full speed ahead with the talks, a Foreign Office source told The Telegraph. She wants urgent progress. She is determined to get this thing done and find a fair, proportionate and durable solution that genuinely solves the problems and protects the Good Friday Agreement. So the reason why she wants to get this over with is because she needs a big win. In order to push for the role of Prime Minister, she needs a big win. And this is what she maybe this is the reason why she's taken the role, is because she thinks she can get somewhere here. The problem is she won't get anywhere because any kind of agreement, any compromise with the EU will not be seen as good enough for the DUP and for the ERG. She wants a constructive relationship with Sefcovic and the EU to get off on the right foot. Again, it's important to do that, but what is the strategy it's going to take? Is she going to say, oh yeah, we're going to do Article 16 unless you give us these massive concessions? Or is she going to say, look, we may have these Article 16 if things get really dicey in Northern Ireland, but we accept the proposals around medicines and we're going to look further what we can do on agri-foods. Chevening has become an important part of Miss Truss's diplomatic strategy, using it as a staging post for important talks and photo opportunities. Realistically, it's just going to be mainly for photo ops. Sharing photos of herself with Arab and Baltic counterparts walking in the grounds of the property, because what she wants to do is appear prime ministerial. That's what she wants, because I think she sees that people are getting bored of the populist bomb thrower. They want someone who looks professional, who looks like they're good at their job. And in fairness to her, especially in this picture below, she does look fairly professional, which is, a 3,000 acre place near Kent. So, she does look fairly professional, like she actually gets on with people. And I do wonder, is she actually a people person? Don't know a lot about her, really. She believes in, to be fair, a lot of people don't actually know who she is, which is interesting. She believes inviting Sefcovic, the EU's Brexit negotiator, can help resolve the dispute over the protocol. I mean, maybe, but I don't think this inviting him to this nice house isn't going to cut it. I don't know what she's looking for here, but I don't think inviting him to a big house. I mean, other countries, I don't know if the French use the Palace of Versailles in negotiations, but that's a way nice building than this. I mean, if the Germans wanted to, they could use the palace in Potsdam for negotiations if it wasn't a historical site, which is, again, way nicer than this building. But, yeah, it's just bizarre. I think this, we'll see what happens. We'll keep an eye on the story. Frost, her predecessor, was only able to entertain the senior commission official from inside the cabinet office. I mean, again, Sefcovic was like, oh yeah, this tiny room with this tiny man, I'm not going to give this man a deal. When he sees the State House, he's going to be like, oh, look at this beautiful place and this beautiful house. How can we not give these people a deal? Like, honestly, come on, let's be real here. Before the Christmas break, Brussels agreed to change its own laws to allow the UK medicines regulator to authorise new and existing drugs for use in Northern Ireland, which continues to follow EU pharma rules after Brexit. So long as we kind of follow what the EU changes are, we'll be alright with medicines, which is great. Sefcovic ruled out any further discussions over the European Court of Justice, even after the UK dropped demands over the role of the EU judges in the province. Again, they're kind of spinning it as, oh, Sefcovic is being, really mean here, even though the UK dropped its demand. But he's going to keep that in place in case the UK tries it again. So the UK like, oh, let's get rid of what they call the ECJ judges. Sefcovic will be like, nah, that ain't going to happen, G. Anyways, going on. Truss will continue to press her counterpart to agree to end the role of the ECJ. I mean, that's not going to happen. That's why, literally, as night follows day, these two paragraphs follow each other. The UK dropped its demand, but Liz Truss will continue to press to agree to end the role of the ECJ. I mean, that's not going to happen. And if she keeps that as a red line, she's not going to get very far. So ECJ is the final arbiter of disputes over the protocol, as well as measures to ease the burden of EU-ordered checks on British goods. She might get somewhere with the second bit. She might. It depends though, because if the UK won't go for an alignment deal like Switzerland, getting an equivalency deal is going to be very difficult given, the Australia deal and the route this government are going down. The Foreign Secretary has insisted that triggering Article 16 of the protocol remains on the table if a negotiated solution is not found. So she's going to continue the threat. She's going to continue to push to get rid of the ECJ as the final arbiter for disputes over the protocol, which she's not going to get anywhere. And so what that tells me is, she's going to try to appear to look like she's doing something. Because, like I said a couple of times in this video, there's no way for her to succeed in this role. Unless Sefcovic loses his mind and the entire EU Commission lose their minds and the entire EU lose their minds and, get rid of the trade border within the Irish Sea, or the UK rejoins the EU Single Market and Customs Union, unless one of those two things happens, we're going to be at a deadlock because they're not getting rid of the courts, the ECJ, the European Court of Justice. That's not going to happen. They will reduce checks on medicines, get rid of that. Change rules around agri-food, that's good. But we're not going to get the stuff around the judges, and that's if Liz Truss keeps that as a red line. She's not going to win, and she's not going to get very far. She may be just. If I were her, I would just keep these talks going until the elections in Stormont, because at least you get rid of the DUP. Then the only thing you have to deal with are the ERG. That's it, and at least that's one less headache to deal with. That's what, if I was Liz Truss's advisor, that's what I'd be telling her to do. But yeah. I don't know how far she's going to progress in this role. I really don't. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun watching it, and I'll be here covering it. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Support the channel on Patreon if you can. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one.